YouTube, it's Sarah here with Crimson and Wool, and I have a fun tutorial for you today. I'm excited to bring you a character tutorial. As always, I don't claim rights to any of these characters. I am just a huge fan, and so I wanted to go ahead and create a pattern for you to follow along with. So it is a free written pattern that you could find in the description box below, and you could copy and paste it. So one day soon, I hope I have my blog going. That way you could just go ahead and download it from the blog. But for now, I will link it in the description box below, as well as any supplies that you will need to create this cutie. So the measurements for this doll measures just over 6 inches tall. So she is super cute. If you haven't made my basic doll, then you could go ahead and follow that first, because there's quite a bit of color change in this tutorial. So if you want to go ahead and get a feel for the pattern, it's pretty similar to my basic doll pattern. So I'll leave a link in the description box below for that. But other than that, we could go ahead and get started. All right, let's start with the leg. You're going to start with 6 single crochets in a magic circle. And then go ahead and pull on your tail end to close in that gap. Starting with round 2. Round 2 is an increase round. You're going to work 2 single crochets into each stitch all the way around. And that should give you a total of 12 stitches for round 2. Before we move on to round 3, we are going to secure a knot, maybe 1 to 2 knots in the back, and snip off a little bit so that that is out of the way while we continue to work. All right, starting round 3, we are going to work into the back loop only of each stitch, working 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around. And you should have a total of 12 stitches for the round. Round 4, you're going to work 1 single crochet into the first 2 stitches, and then move up your stitch marker. And now we're going to work 4 single crochet decreases. We're going to work the decreases into the front loop only of each stitch. So what I do is I insert my hook into the first loop of the next stitch. I wrap around and insert it into the front loop of the following stitch. So that's just the front loop only of the next 2 stitches. I have 3 loops on my hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2. And that's how I work my single crochet decreases. So I'm going to repeat that again. And I'm doing that for a total of 4 times. So 4 single crochet decreases. You should have a total of 2 stitches left over, and you're going to work a single crochet into each of those stitches. And that will give you a total of 8 single crochets for round 4. Round 5 and 6 are going to be 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around. So go ahead and work that up, and then I will meet you back at the end of round 6, but we are going to change color. So we will be working that color change into the last stitch of round 6. So you're going to change color to the skin tone that you would like to use. Okay, so I have my color change, and then I've worked part of the single crochet. So I yarned over and pulled up. So I have 2 loops on my hook for that single crochet. Instead of bringing my working yarn through, I'm going to attach my color change and then join to change color. And then I like to do just 1 knot, nothing crazy, to secure that. And I will snip those off, and those will get tucked into the leg and foot area. So now we are going to work rounds 7 through 10, and we're going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around. Go ahead and continue working all of your rounds, and I'll meet you back at the end of round 10. All right, so I finished up round 10, and I'm going to work a slip stitch into the first stitch of the next round. And then I'm going to cut off my yarn and tuck this tail into the leg. So now we have 1 leg finished. Make your other leg, and I will meet you back here so that we could stuff them and join them. All right, so for stuffing, you could do this as you work the leg up or at the end, either way. I just like to take my scissors, but as always, be careful. I always feel the need to say that. I don't want people to get crazy. But I take my scissors and I make the foot shape and I stuff the polyfill in there. I used to use the end of my crochet hook and I like it, but I just find that the scissors creates kind of like a felting effect with the stuffing. So as I'm doing that, I just want to make sure that I'm shaping the foot so that it just doesn't look like a round little. So we just want it to have some shape to it. So now we are going to join our legs. And to do that, I want to make my legs, put them together so that they're facing the right direction that the feet are. And I'm going to hold them together in place. Take my hook, insert it through one side, 1 stitch, same thing, insert it through another stitch on the other leg. We are going to be working with blue, so I'm going to be grabbing that and joining with a slip stitch. And then pull tight. This doesn't count as any stitch. Take off a little bit or the blue might show through the leg. So now we are going to work 15 single crochets evenly all the way around. We should technically have 16 stitches because 8 and 8 is 16, and that's the amount of stitches we had for each leg. So we might have to decrease. It just all depends on how you join the leg together and what you count as a stitch, but you just simply want to work 15 single crochets evenly all the way around. So however you get that is perfectly fine. And at the end of round 11, you should have 15 single crochets total. So I'm going to count mine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I have 14 stitches, and I'm just going to work 1 more stitch right here, and that will be my 15th stitch. And so my first single crochet is right here, and that will be the beginning of round 11. For round 12, you're going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around. And you should have a total of 15 stitches. And I will meet you back at the end of round 11. So just go ahead and work up your single crochets all the way around. All right, so at the end of round 11, we are going to do a color change. We're going to change to yellow. So I'm going to attach my color change through the last part of that stitch. Then I'm going to tie off. And so we will have another color change coming up after this, because right now we're creating her belt. For round 13, we are going to work 1 half double crochet into each stitch all the way around. And you should have a total of 15 half double crochets. And then at the end of the round, we will be switching to red. So I have 1 stitch remaining. I'm going to yarn over for my half double crochet, insert my hook into the stitch, and then I'm going to pull up a loop. And then I have 3 stitches remaining on my hook. Then I'm going to grab my color change, which will be red, and I'm going to pull through all 3 stitches. And that has worked our color change. So now we could tie off and snip off the yellow. Round 14. We are working in what I call the 3rd loop. If that's too much for you, you could simply work into the stitch regularly or work into the back loop only. But I like to create a ridging. So it is this 3rd loop back here. So you have this V stitch, and then there's this other stitch back here that happens when you crochet a half double crochet. And that's what I'm going to work into. So I'm working single crochets into those stitches. But like I said, you can simply work into the back loop only or into the stitch itself. It's perfectly fine. Whatever you are comfortable with, you could go ahead and do that. So at this point, I'm going to stuff the legs a little bit. So for rounds 15 through 16, you are going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around. So I finished up round 16, and now I am going to change color into this last stitch. And so this, hallelujah, is the last color change for the doll. And so we are going to go ahead and do the same process that we've done before to attach our color change. And now for round 17, you are going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around. You are going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around. So for round 18 will be a decrease round. This will create the neck. Work 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then 1 decrease, front loop only, over the next 2 stitches. So that's the pattern repeat, 1 single crochet and a single crochet decrease. And then at the end of this round, you should have a total of 10 stitches. Round 19, you are going to increase now. So you're going to work 2 single crochets into each stitch all the way around. And that should give you a total of 20 single crochets. So at this point, let's go ahead and stuff a bit more. Round 20 is going to be another increase round. So you're going to work 1 single crochet into that first stitch, and then a single crochet increase over the next stitch. And that's the pattern repeat: 1 single crochet, a single crochet increase. And you should have a total of 30 single crochets for the end of the round. Rounds 21 through 25 are going to be 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around. So that's a total of 5 rounds, just working 1 single crochet. And you should have a total of 30 stitches for each round. So as always, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys work up the next 5 rounds. I will as well, and I will meet you back at the end of round 25. All right, so let's go ahead and get our safety eyes. I'm using 9mm. So let's go ahead and place the safety eyes. What I like to do is count up from where we started our increase. So that would be this round right here. I'm going to count up 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I know that it's going to be between the 4th and 5th round once we started the head. And in the pattern, I'll have those rounds for you. And so I like to line up with the leg and place an eye. And then I go over, it should be about 4 to 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and insert into the 5th stitch. Now I'm going to see if that is lined up well. In round 26, we are going to start decreasing. So you are going to work 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches. And then you're going to work a decrease over the next 2. And that's the pattern repeat. 3 single crochets and then a single crochet decrease. And you should have a total of 24 stitches at the end of the round. Round 27, you're going to work 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches and a single crochet decrease. You'll repeat that all the way around: 2 single crochets, a single crochet decrease. And at the end of the round, you should have a total of 18 stitches. Round 28, you are going to work 1 single crochet and then a single crochet decrease. And you will repeat that all the way around. At the end of the round, you should have a total of 12 single crochets. Let's go ahead and stuff up a bit more. Round 29, last round, we are going to close up. We are working a single crochet decrease all the way around, and that should give us a total of 6 stitches remaining. And then go ahead and leave a good, 6 to 7 inches so that we could sew in the gap. You'll probably need to stuff a little bit more. Grab your tapestry needle or yarn needle. And then we are going to close in the gap similar to how we did our decreases. into the front loop only and wrap around 2 stitches, and repeat that 2 times, or 2 more times. And then we are going to pull, and that will close in the gap. And then just weave in your tail back and forth, and we have her body done. So let's go ahead and work on the symbol right here. So these are probably going to turn out different each time, but that's okay. We're just trying to create a line, a W, and then a line. Come into the back right here. And then we are going to bring it across to the other side, like that. And then come right here, like that. And then we're going to come down and come back up here to bring one side, and then come down one side here and come up in the middle, and come back down here, and then come along right there and come back up. Let's see how that looks. So there we go. We have our little lines, our W and our lines. All right, so there's that. Now we are going to do her little tie for her belt. So what I like to do is get a piece of yarn, maybe good 18 inches, and fold it in half. And I'm going to bring it through this loop right here, just one of these loops, and pull it through. And then I'm going to crochet one side first. So just start making a chain. So you're going to start making a chain of 6. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and pull that tight. And we're going to repeat that process with the other tail right here. And then we are going to tie a knot with this. And then there is her little belt and or whip area. And cut these off, and they can leave little frays right there. And let's create her arms. Starting with the arms, you're going to make 2, work 6 single crochets into a magic circle, and pull tight around 2, and you are going to work a single crochet into each stitch all the way around. Let's go ahead and fasten off and tie a knot so that our arm doesn't come undone. And we'll snip some of that out of the way. Go ahead and get your color change ready. We are going to be adding yellow into her arm. So for round 3, you're going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch, and then in the last stitch, we will do our color change. Work 6 single crochets into a magic circle. For rounds 2 through 3, you are going to work a single crochet into each stitch all the way around. Let's go ahead and fasten off and tie a knot so that our arm doesn't come undone. And we'll snip some of that out of the way. Go ahead and get your color change ready. We are going to be adding yellow into her arm. All right, so I'm on the last stitch of round 3, and I am going to join my color change. So we do want to continue to keep our skin tone yarn connected because we will be using that again. So for round 4 and 5, work 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around. At this point, I'm going to remove my stitch marker because it's easier to tell, but continue working with it if you need to. So I'm on the last stitch, and I am going to pull up my yellow or my skin tone and connect that. And then now we can get rid of the yellow and stuff in the tails. So round 6 and 7, we are going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around. Now what we're going to do is we are going to press down to close. Now we are going to work single crochets to close this. So I insert my hook and put it through both sides and pull up to work a single crochet. And I'm going to repeat that again. And now I'm going to leave a long enough tail to sew the arm onto the body. So there's one arm. Go ahead and make your other arm, and then we will come back and sew onto the body. So we worked up both arms. Let's go ahead and attach them to the body. So grab your tapestry needle and then connect one tail end to that. I'm going to line the arm up with the leg, center, and bring it to the base of the neck. Then I'm going to insert my hook into the doll and then back around where it meets up with the other end of the arm. And I'm going to pull to bring that end tight. Then I'm going to insert my, I think I said hook. I always do that. I meant my needle into this end of the arm and back into the doll. I should make a bloopers reel of me saying hook instead of needle. Bring your needle back into the same area you came out of and insert it into the middle of the arm right here. And then back into the doll. And that should secure your arm really nicely. Then work your tail end back and forth to secure it. I just do it about like 2 times and then I cut it off. So we are going to do the other end or the other side as well. All right, so go ahead and grab your black yarn. This is for the hair. So this might be a little harder to see because of the black, but the pattern itself is pretty straightforward. So go ahead and work 6 single crochets into a magic circle. Round 2, we are going to work 2 single crochets into each stitch. So we have an increase round, and that will give us a total of 12 stitches for round 2. So just go ahead and continue working 2 single crochets into each stitch all the way around. So round 3, you're going to work a 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then you are going to do 2 single crochets into the next. That's the pattern repeat. 1 single crochet, then a single crochet increase, and you should have a total of 18 stitches at the end of round 3. All right, so let's go ahead and tie a knot to secure. Round 4, we are going to increase again. So now we are going to work 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, then work your increase into the third. That's the pattern repeat, 2 single crochets and a single crochet increase. And at the end of the round, you should have 24 stitches. So round 5, this is the last increase round. We are going to work 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches, and then work our single crochet increase. And you'll repeat that pattern all the way around to have a total of 30 single crochets at the end of round 5. So round 6 to 10, I usually do 1 single crochet into each stitch. Now sometimes that varies. So like if I were to switch up my yarn, I'm gonna be working a single crochet into each stitch all the way around, just so you know as I talk. If I were to use like Red Heart Super Saver instead of the Karen 1 pound, then I might have to go a little bit longer because the thickness of the yarn is, or it's actually a thinner yarn. So it just all depends on your yarn, but just go ahead and work up like 5 more rounds to get to round 10 and see how much it covers. If you have to add, then add. If you have to take away a round, then take it away. You just want it to cover. So I'm gonna work up my next 5 rounds, just working 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around, and I'll meet you back here to show you what it should look like. Okay, so yes, I did complete 10 rounds total. So round 6 through 10 were 1 single crochet into each stitch. So sometimes I kind of like to stretch it out just a little bit, and then it helps slide on. And so I just want it to be even space between the eyes and then the back as well. So that is good because we are also going to attach hair, and so it will cover a little bit. You don't want to go too low because then if you do hair, it's going to cover the eyes. So you want to place it to where there's a good enough gap between the eyes and the crown, the cap. So I think that's good. I'm going to show you how I finish off and sew it on. So what I normally like to do is I don't work a stitch into that last stitch. I'm going to skip it and then work a slip stitch. And so that should kind of create just like an even circle. And I'm going to cut at least 12 to 18 inches off so that we could sew this on. So there's that. Then I'm going to place the cap back onto the head. Make sure it is spaced how I like it. And then I'm going to grab my tapestry needle and I'm going to show you how I sew it on. And so I hope you could see it because I know with the yarn being darker, it can be hard. But basically what I do is I take my needle and I'm going to insert it into the head and the crown cap and then come back up and bring it through like that. And then I'm going to go back and do the same process. So I don't really have an amount of stitches that I skip. I just kind of work back into the head and come back through. Now I don't want to wrap this because we want these 2 stitches to put our hair. We're going to work our hair into those stitches. So that's why I'm working into this area. So if you could see here, I have the 2 stitches that we would loop the hair onto. I'm not working into those. I'm working, let's see if you could see that gap right there, into there. And just coming back through like that. And I'm going to do that all around the whole head. And now we have our cap on for the hair. Sometimes the stuffing can come out. So now I'm going to show you how to do the hair as well as her little crown. All right, so to do the hair, let me move this up a tad and get my yarn out of the way. So I like to take something that I feel is like at least the length, or if not longer than the doll I'm working on. And I'm going to use that to wrap the hair. And so I take the yarn and I hold it, and I'm going to wrap it at least 30 times. So I usually try to do at least like 31 just in case. And then now we have our hair. So what we're going to do to attach this is we're going to lay our doll down, and let me come closer now and get that out of the way. I'm going to grab my hook, and I am going to attach the hair, and let me show you how I do that. So those loops that we kept there, I'm going to insert my hook into that loop. So as if we were working a stitch. It's just like the same V stitch that you go into. You're going to grab the hair, grab one piece and fold it in half, and then you take the end that is still connected and you're going to pull that through. So now I have the hair at this end, and I pulled through on this end. So I kind of have like a loop on my hook, and I'm going to wrap around and only pull one strand through. And then I'm going to pull that tight and tie a knot. And that is exactly what we do for every single piece of hair. So it's just the same process. Just grab your hair, and then you're going to wrap it around, pull through only one strand, tighten it, and tie a knot. So the reason I do this is I know that the hair is just like a cap on the head, but especially because the size of these dolls, it could get overwhelming to have so much hair if we went through every single piece. That's a lot of hair. Also, it's a lot of work. And so I like this process. I think it looks cute. And there's a lot more different styles we could do, and I'll show you guys that as we work on more videos in the future. But basically, I'm just going to let this go. You could watch me, you can work on yours, and I'm just going to continue the same process all the way around. And once you get the hang of it, it actually goes pretty quickly. It's just kind of like, it becomes mindless once you get the hang of it. So go ahead and work yours up, and I'll meet you back once we've finished. Okay, so we have finished the hair. It looks a little creepy right now, but so more than likely the hair is longer than we need it, and that's okay because we could cut it, which will help it look more even. It's better to have more than not enough. So at this point for this doll, I like to take the hair and part it in the middle because we want to make room for her crown to be able to be seen. And so I part the hair. Let me come up a little. I'm going to part it, and then I am going to wrap. So we're going to part, grab a section and wrap. And so like that, and bring it towards the back on one side, and then I just kind of hold it with one hand here. And I'm going to repeat that same process on this side, wrapping and then holding folding, and you're going to want to grab 2 strands of hair from back in this area, and we are going to bring it and tie these to secure them. So just 2 strands on each side towards the bottom. And then what I do is I tie a knot and tighten it. Now there's lots of room to be able to fix it if it doesn't look quite right at first, but I do 2 knots and then I'm going to play with it. So first, before we cut it, let's just make sure that it is how we want it to look. So I'm going to move it around a little. We want the hair to come down like that, but then we also want to be able to see it on the sides. And so at this point I feel good, and I am going to cut it. Now I would just kind of brush it through with your fingers to make sure you didn't miss anything, and I kind of feel like that is a little long, so I want to take off just a little bit more. We get to be hairstylists for these dolls. But we got to clean it up. So I kind of like to round the edges and have the hair come up shorter. And a lint roller goes a long way if you have one. I gotta find one of those mini traveler size ones, because that would help. All right, so there she is. Her hair is all done. And the next step is to create her crown. And then we are going to add some blush, and we are almost done. So for the crown, go ahead and work a slip knot. Well, you want to make sure you have a long enough tail so you could sew it on, or you could even hot glue it as well. And you're going to chain 16. Okay, so now we are going to work a single crochet into the next 5 stitches. Your first stitch is worked into the second chain from the hook. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now you are going to work 2 half double crochets, one into the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and then you're going to work 3 double crochets into the next stitch. Then you're going to work a half double crochet into the next 2 stitches. And you should have 5 stitches remaining, and you will work 1 single crochet into the rest of those remaining stitches. And so at this point we have our crown. And we are going to, what I like to do is turn the work around, and I'm going to work a slip stitch just through the bottom right here. This allows us to bring the working yarn to the other side, and then it also just gives it a nicer finish. So just working a slip stitch at the base. And then work 1 more to close that off, and then cut off enough to sew it on. I personally like to hot glue it on. So now we have the crown, and I will show you how that's going to look. It's going to go into the middle right here. So now let's work on the star. So there are 2 ways you could go about this. So if you have some felt, then you could go ahead and try to cut your felt star out. or you can just create a star with some yarn. So let's try that. I'm going to grab some yarn right here. I have, at least 12 to 18 inches. And I'm going to separate it. So I want 2 strands out of the 4. To do that, I grab and split it, and then I work slowly and just pull down. The slower, the better. And sometimes you're able to get the whole thing if it just works out. So I'm going to show you just an easy way to create what looks like a star. It's not an exact star, but it will do the work. I'm going to insert my needle through the space that was created with the 3 double crochets and back to the top of that middle one, like that. Then I'm going to come to the side in between the double crochet on the side of that, and then I'm going to bring it over and cross it into the next. And then I'm going to come down at the bottom right here, and it might be trial and error to see if it looks good or not. And then I think I'm going to come up here, cross down over here. And there we go. We kind of have a star. You can mess around with it, or if you want to have a more detailed star, then you can go ahead and cut a star out with a piece of felt. So I just wanted to give you options, especially for those who don't have felt or those who don't feel confident in using felt. Stars are really hard, I feel like, to cut out. And so yeah, if you are able to find small star buttons or stickers like at Hobby Lobby or Joann's or Michael's, then you could try that as well. There's lots you could try out. We'll work with that. And then go ahead and grab your hot glue gun. All right, so if you wanted to sew this on, then you could just put it in place, grab your tapestry needle, and just sew it on. But what I like to do, and this is what I do for all of my dolls, is I get a little bit of hot glue. My glue gun is gnarly, guys. And then I'm going to pull my yarn back over that. And then I take some scissors and I push down. And so the coolness of the metal gets basically just hardens that quickly. And then I cut off. So I'm going to do that on the other side as well. See? And then I'm going to snip that off. And so at this point, I want to line it up with where I want to place it. So I have an idea. And then I'm going to line a little bit of glue right here. So don't go overboard because you don't want it to go into your hair. And so the ends is kind of where you want to have a little bit more, but you want to be cautious of the hair. So go ahead and pull it down out of the face. And then you are going to line it up with the middle of the hairline and press down. And so by pulling the hair down, you can ensure that you do not get it on the hair. And I have done that. So that's why I am saying to be careful of that. Now you could bring your hair back up and it will wrap nicely around your crown. And it is secured in place. Like that. So now you need to have your blush and something to apply your blush. You can use paint if you want to as well, or you could try doing a stitch of just some pink under the eyes. But I like to use blush, and so I'm just going to grab some, and it's literally an e.l.f. brush, so it's like $1 at Target. And I'm just going to apply it to the sides of the cheeks right here. And there is the blush. And we are finished. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you made any of these, I would love to see your work. You could tag me on Instagram or Facebook at Crimson and Wool. I have links to that in the description box below. I always love to see your guys' work. As well as if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. And then if you would like to be notified anytime I come out with a new video, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. But with that, I look forward to crocheting with you guys again next time.